Bother. Anyway, we're live now.
Hello, how you doing?
We get Facebook up.
Hope you're all well, guys, and thank you, Barbara. Um, Robert Bruce was a wee bit early. That's all right. We forgive you, Robert. You know that. Here we go. Wee Bird. No, have you seen? There's somebody here called Wee Bird. Have you seen that one before? Is that new to us?
No, we've seen Wee Bird before.
Have you seen Wee Bird? Right. Okay.
Aye.
Stephen Nicol. Right. Oh, Ginger's Giraffes. There we are. Come all the way from America.
Anyway, David, as folks go in and are coming in, a lot of interesting things to talk about, but they're about all more or less big stories of the week, but we're going to it's just, they're in a random order, folks, but they're just how we came across it as well. Talking about the news. So when we get into it, when there's enough of you on board, we'll be talking about mainly the big issues of the week, but they'll be done in random order because that's just the way we were talking about it when we were deciding what we're going to talk about. You know, I don't know what's happening with Facebook. I don't seem to see any comments. But way it is, numbers are climbing nicely.
Robert, I have. I'll just answer someone directly. Robert, I have installed the Threads thing, but to be honest with you, I don't know what to do with it at the moment, so I'll get to it. It's one of those things when you're busy trying to do stuff and you've got your daughter's birthday to deal with and all that nonsense, right?
Is this new Meta thing, the new rival to Twitter?
Well, what's been happening is there's a wee bit of a fight going on between Zuckerberg and Musk. Musk has got Twitter, and obviously Zuckerberg has got the Facebook or whatever it was called this week. All right, but he's brought in this thing called Threads, and it's to directly attack Twitter. Yeah, you get it?
Aye.
No, I do. So there you go.
But aye, it's been a funny all week, isn't it? In politics. Thank you very much, Scottish Independence.
Thank you.
Greatly appreciated. We have started doling out last month's money. We've still got the 3 more payments to be paid out. The first recipient, Dave and I have just been discussed. They got £150. It's a local food bank. Okay.
It was a screamer. You need help, right? Fine. Yeah, you've got the money there. You don't argue. You just do it, right? Something like that. So.
That was an appeal for help, but that's anyway. We're not doing the poverty porn thing. At the end of the month, we'll give you the total that we've raised for this month, and we'll tell you what happened to the money for last month. Okay, that seems fair because we don't want to do poverty porn, but we want to make sure you're well aware where your money went. And at the end of the year, we will publish books at the end of the financial year. We'll go for when we started using the 2 Davies bank account to a year from that date, and we will publish you a full set of accounts, and we'll go through them with you. It'll be a boring bloody programme, but hey, we think it's important that you know where your money's going.
Yeah.
So we'll give you monthly updates, and we'll tell you where your money goes.
Guys, you might trust us. But at the end of the day, unless we are absolutely 100% open, it's like eventually somebody will go, is the money really going there?
Yeah, that's why we did the
bank account. You know what I mean? It's like
that's why we did the bank account thing, because everything will be done by electronic transfer and there'll be an electronic record of it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway,
numbers are building up, David. So we'll start off with the illegal migration bill, and that was this Monday.
Well, I had a go on a rowing boat when I was away in Crete. It was good, that actually. Just getting a bit of practice in. I could have rowed back to Britain, couldn't I?
Right, after next time you go abroad, carrying on, boy.
Did you row from somewhere else to here? Did you? Oh, there we go.
Anyway, get bandied back and forth between the House of Commons and Lords. It's had its vote. It's now going through the third phase. I had a look at the progress of the bill, and it's getting bogged in the Lords. The Lords are, even the Conservative side of the House of Lords are no chuff for this one. Amendments are abundant.
I know we've discussed this a few times in the past, just between the two of us, right? But you know, you know that the in the Commons that the actual committee that sits and sorts out the bills, legislation going forward for the Tories, they've got the power of what's called the statutory instrument.
Is that not the minister that holds that power?
It's the minister. It's any minister. It could be the minister of outside toilets. It's any minister in the Tory Tory government, right? Do you not think that if it got beyond a certain point, they would just go, right, statutory instrument, and that's it, done?
No.
Is it?
Always possible, David. I'm just saying I don't think it'll harm.
No, but I'll always look at these things in parallel with like the American setup. You know, the American president has got the ability to just pass something, and that's it. Yeah.
That's the King Edward powers we were talking about. That's we're talking about statutory instruments, but I don't see it happening in this case. But I mean, they'll get this bill through. They will. It's go to reading. The Lords will piss about it again. I'll go to the committee stage. I'll come in. Everyone's not got voted down. This thing will go through. It's pretty horrific. But I mean, when you get right down it, I mean, it comes out during the army about all this hate fest about small boats because of the culture war that these people have got nothing to offer, except for this culture war. It comes out that Jenrick visited a child detention centre for unaccompanied children in Kent. This place is specifically built for them. And when he visited it, he looked at the walls and told the staff there, paint out the murals. You're making this place look too welcoming. We're talking about children who are on their own, have been traumatised, and this particular minister goes to the centre that's been specifically designed to help these children who have been traumatised to paint the place bland because it looks too welcoming. Yeah. The horror of that. Yeah. And that's illegal migration.
You look at Jenrick and you just go, he's a wee shite. And he is. How he ever managed to get fucking elected by anybody, I don't know, right?
Obviously, people weren't paying attention to the hustings, you know, and then of course the public debate and their constituency, but because they generally don't, it's become like football politics. You pick your side and then you go and tick your box. You know, it's getting that bad. But you see, it also leads to a new breakaway. The transit of this bill going through the Commons. It leads to a new splinter group within the Tories for the Red Wall, who are demanding that the Home Office bring down inward migration by 400,000. Wow. And here we find ourselves on a rock where we are so short of people to work in the fields that farmers are reducing the amount of crops that they are planting. Do you think this is all a ploy to keep inflation high and starve the population?
Yeah.
Because none of this bloody stuff makes sense.
Do I know something? I could believe anything at this moment in time. You know, you go through everything. You know, Bank of England, blooming interest rates. Is it just that they're fucking stupid and they want to just keep on hitting that nail with the same hammer all the time, right? Inflation. We put up the interest rates, right? They're not that stupid. They're not that stupid. What are they doing it for? They're doing it for disaster capitalists. Something like that.
As I say, it doesn't make any sense. I mean, the very fact that the immigration has been the freedom of movement's ended means that they've actually created more food price inflation. It makes no sense whatsoever. My video has been locked, David.
Are you ringing Rishi Sunak to just tell him what a knob he is?
No, I'm making my video on Facebook public because Facebook locked my video for anybody seeing it.
Okay.
So it's now public on Facebook.
Right. There you go.
So hopefully people will be able to start seeing it on Facebook.
That's why you couldn't get.
Thanks for the heads up, Rosie. I didn't realise that Meta had been playing about with my account again. Mental. So, I mean, really.
By the way, can I just make a little comment on this? David's the one that he does the videos, then they truck Davey or the rest of it, right? And I'm the one that I write a lot of stuff. I write a lot of posts. You've probably noticed, right? With David, what they do is they try and lock his videos all the time. With me, what happens is I post it on my groups, of which there's like 50 or 60 of them, right? And what they do is they don't stop it getting posted. They put it right at the bottom. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to spend half a day rolling to the very, very bottom of the group. And what I do is I post it to the highlighted bit at the top. That's what I do if it's a group that I set up, you know. Right.
Anyway, it's been unlocked on Facebook now, so hopefully, but that's it. People are starting to see it in Facebook now. I'm sorry, folks. Meta had locked you out for seeing it in Facebook. So hopefully people will start seeing it in Facebook. Right, so, I mean, the whole thing about immigration right now is mental.
Yeah.
It's actually causing more inflation.
Yeah.
And it's going to force up food prices.
Have we woken up in an alternate universe?
I think we have.
Because that's what it seems like, you know.
Right, a bit of comedy to lighten the mood after that one, shall we?
Yeah, go on.
Wait a minute. Keir Starmer, was it yesterday?
Yeah.
He's going to break the class ceiling by teaching working class people to communicate better. Or as I put it in my post, he's going to teach them to talk with toffs so that everybody thinks of it.
It's a good one, right? For Fiona Robertson, right? It's like you say, "How now, brown cow," right? Okay. In Northern Ireland, Fiona would say, "Hi now, brown cow."
No, she's actually from Glasgow.
Just a wee word out for Fiona Robertson. She got a first-class honours degree. Absolutely brilliant, Fiona. Right? So we She originated from Paisley and went across to Northern Ireland. And she's her man in Northern Ireland. She keeps us updated, right? She's absolutely brilliant, and that's how she's got a first-class honours degree.
I did say that before you get in on Thursday, by the way.
I know you did.
But I mean, Starmer, how patronising can he be to the working classes? The reason why your kids are not doing well is because they don't speak the way the old school guy speaks, or they don't communicate effectively.
What was that film? What was that movie with what's his face? And he's trying to teach a lassie to speak properly, and she's like a Cockney. By Jove, she's got it, right? You know what I'm on about?
Aye.
Yeah. So that's what's in Starmer's head. He's a bumstick, honestly. You know.
He's definitely a bumstick. The reason why working class children are not doing well is because they don't have a bull in their mouth.
Bull. You've been playing bulls all your life, haven't you? Yeah, the best stanks. I can show you the best stanks for playing bulls. Honestly, there's just one. It's the one that's half and half. You know what I'm talking about?
I mean, the bloody bulls. I mean, how thick does he think the working class are? Does he think that people don't effectively communicate with each other who are working class?
Woof, aye.
I mean, Rishi Sunak was out of touch.
Yep. Well,
I just had to bring that one up, David, because it was just so funny.
I know.
As I watched that clip, now I know what he meant was, you know, he didn't mean to be patronising. What he meant was, we have to teach them to be better communicators. You know, we're talking about kids in the 21st century who can use their thumbs faster than you and I can bloody type, and he's talking about teaching them how to communicate by speaking better.
I know.
What an absolute spanner.
Yeah, when I went down to England at first, it's like I spoke with a broad Glaswegian accent, and you look at me now, I'm a big porky guy, right? I get fed a lot, right? But down there, I wasn't getting fed anything. And I realised it was the fact that people were looking at me and they didn't understand what I was saying. right? So I had to slow down and become a bit more posh, and that meant they could hear me, and I could ask, please, may I have some food? And they gave me food. See?
Me, I'd have just went to the supermarket and picked off a shelf because I'm no fucking stupid. But obviously, Keir Starmer thinks the working classes are. Because I have never heard anything like it in my life. I was hoping that Daily Blasey would have done something with that one. Because that was hilarious. And of course, it was interrupted by the
yes, regular. Right, yeah.
Didn't he?
Yeah.
They've been running a savvy down there. They're into everything.
We've
Getting
definitely had a few hecklers this week, haven't we? You know, with the tennis, where you just the oil, right? They came out, and what did they throw about? They threw about a jigsaw, and it was the jigsaw that you can buy off the ticket office, and it's Wimbledon. It's right. And what have they done in response? They banned sales of that particular jigsaw.
Talking about ticket offices, we haven't got this one done, but we'll give it 5 minutes, will we? We've decided to do away with ticket offices in England.
That's all right.
Mick Lynch is bloody raging.
Really?
I mean, I like Mick Lynch, but the only thing I disagree with him on is Brexit.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
You know, he's also willing to hold these strikes out for 20 years to break the government. But hey, no, that's a decision made. Now, 12%. The argument for the rail companies is that only 12% of users use the ticket offices. But that'll be the 12% who are least able to go online.
Yeah. Look, guys, you know, I'm sat here, right? But I'm a cripple. I get out of the car, and it's like 30, 40 yards to me is a route march. And that's the 30, 40 yards where I park in the disabled bay for Dalmuir train station, and I hobble down to the ticket office. And at the end of the day, it's like I'll get my ticket at the ticket office. I found out since that they've been routing me because I used my over 60 travel card, right? And they went, no, son, we don't take that. I've been told since, yeah, they do take it. So I'll be having a word after that. But there are people that will use the disabled bays and go down to the ticket office because they don't have a phone, they don't have internet, you know, all the rest of it, right? And they don't have ability to get to cash, all that sort of stuff. They get on the train, the guy comes, tickets please, right? And he goes, oh, sorry, I can't take cash, it's the machine only, you know. So,
I mean, there's so many reasons for having these people on the platform. Security, safety, getting people who can't manage on and off the trains by themselves.
Right.
This is basically isolating 12% of the population. And Mick Lynch is right to try and fight it. And I hope the public in England and Wales are going to fight this day because it's not happening here.
And let's face it, there are still bad people in this world, right? And if you're travelling back on a night time and you get a few drunk scallywags on the train, they can cause a bit of blooming nonsense. And somebody on the train at least would be able to stop the train, call in the police, whatever's necessary, right? So I don't want it.
This is the other thing. The train companies are talking about, there'll always be a presence. But what they are talking about is being able to grab a number off a board, dial it in and hit a call centre.
Yeah.
Anyway, that was just a wee one I thought.
Yeah. I like the meal.
I mean, this week's been the 75th birthday of the NHS. I noticed you put a programme out in the 2012 Health and Social Care England and Wales Act.
I have thought about largely nothing else over the course of the last week. I find it strange that people haven't got their heads wrapped around this Health and Social Care Bill 2012 and what it actually does. It was written by a criminal mastermind. Now, I'm saying that in a video, and I could get taken to court for that. But looking at it, that was written by a criminal mastermind because what it does is it diverts the money away from the NHS into the private healthcare sector.
Right. And we know that down that road, large swathes of GP practices are now under the control of American healthcare companies.
Have you heard of Virgin Healthcare? They own it. They own a lot of the doctors.
And what they do, folks, is the money follows the patient in England, and this is why the NHS down there is being deprived.
Yeah.
Thank you, Alistair. Now that's why the NHS has been deprived of money. They go and see your GP, who's under the control of a private American healthcare company. Your GP directs you to a private healthcare hospital. The money doesn't make the
So
NHS.
why would that GP do that? Dead simple. Because they're getting a wee bit off the drip and roast every time they do it. They're getting a wee kickback from the private healthcare company when they do it. So somebody they're getting a knee replacement in a private unit. The private unit sends back some money, a commission, if you like, okay? So that the doctor is rewarded for doing that, for sending the patient their way. It's not something that's just it's a way of thinking. It is actually where it's the passing of money.
It's also a mastermind way of breaking down the NHS, because we know that all the doctors working in the private healthcare here in the UK also have contracts with the NHS.
Yeah.
So we talk about waiting lists. Well, the reason why the waiting list is these doctors are not giving all their time to the NHS. They're splitting it.
If you do get a chance, guys, on my timeline on Facebook, also several other groups, you'll find the piece that I've written, and it's headed Criminal Mastermind. Go looking for it.
You also get a video on the two Davies channel.
I did a video of it because of this thing that they keep sending me to the very bottom of the group that I post to. I cannot say more about this, right? Or can't say enough about this. The problem is that this is not common knowledge, right? I spoke to Mrs. McGlumfer up the road, and she didn't have a clue about it, right? And I explained it to her really carefully, really easily, right? And eventually she got it. Now she's talking to her neighbour, and they're having chats about it, right? But that's what I need you to do. I need you to find people to talk to about this, because what's going to happen? The end game is here. They're going to end up making the NHS in England paid for by health insurance.
And here's an example of how they're going to do it. Look at this. Doctors are refusing Medicare patients over here because the government doesn't pay as much as private insurance. There's the future, folks, unless we stand up for this NHS.
Gingers, thank you for that. Thank you.
Very timely intervention there, Gingers, actually.
Now,
but I mean, it's very important. I don't think the majority of people in England understood the 2012 Health and Social Care Act and how it was going to be used to crash the NHS. And when there is no Barnett consequentials for NHS England, Scotland, Wales and Northern Ireland have to follow the same path.
Yeah. Now, the way that they're convincing people is very simple. It's proven that number 10 Downing Street control the broadcast media. And if you noticed the amount of TV, the amount of program segments on the news where it says, "Can we fix the NHS? The NHS is broken. Can we fix it?" And they show you images from I don't know where, right? And it's dreadful. I agree, it's dreadful. But I ask the question, very, very simple. If the NHS is broken the way that it's funded at the moment, what difference is health insurance going to make? It's not going to make any. Until with a Health and Social Care Bill 2012, then it will keep on happening, right? Please, guys, if you can, read the post I put up, but do tell other people, all right? Please.
Do yourself a favour. Go into YouTube and just type into the search bar TED Talk, Health and Social Care Act 2012, and you'll get the whole bloody story. The whole bloody story. But that was the 75th. Let's lighten up again. We chuck up here for what the press is calling a mini coronation.
I'm ashamed that I couldn't get to the coronation to hold a banner up saying not my king, but plenty did. Oh my goodness
aye.
me! We saw since his like mini coronation, his little dinky coronation as he calls it, right? We've seen all the pictures coming out showing the procession going by and all these banners.
Can I interject here, David? It wasn't a mini coronation, no matter what the
I know
TV
that.
commentator said, because anybody that was watching that pish wouldn't have seen a crown put in his head, because he's not entitled to wear the crown of Scotland, because he doesn't take the
People
oath of
understand
ascension.
that, but people
And when we
understand
see him signing the claim of right down that road, that's only the claim of right of Protestants to continue dominion over Scotland. That's not the whole claim of right for 1689. It's selected passages. The reason why they signed the whole claim of right for 1689 is that he would have to, the reason why he didn't take the Scottish oath of the Ascension is because he would need to admit the people were sovereign and know him. The people were the crown and know him.
Answer me this, David. I never watched it. I wouldn't watch it, right? Okay. Did he actually touch any of the
No, he was showing them.
He was showing them. Oh, this is what they.
Well, that's what I said. I mean, anybody in England that thinks that Charles is the King of Scots, you're right.
That's right. Aye.
Anybody in Scotland thinks that Charles is the King of Scots. You're right.
I don't like to speak ill of the dead, but isn't it true that back in 1952, when the Queen had the coronation, she came up here. They'd actually made it an ornate dress, and they'd pulled out all the, and she went, no, I don't want to do that. Sorry.
What she actually did was she showed up at Edinburgh Castle in ordinary clothes and a pair of gloves, and was showing them. But she actually did this. He touched us all.
Yeah.
Didn't they touch the crown? Touched us all.
And it had plenty of use, that sword, didn't it? Because they had to pay £22,000 for a new one, didn't they, for the next one?
Aye. But as I say, just so that people understand, in England and here, Charles isn't king here in Scotland.
Yeah.
He hasn't taken the Scottish oath of accession.
Yeah, he's not king of Scotland. He's king of Scots. That's that.
No, he's not.
No, I know that, but technically that's what it comes out as, isn't it? Yeah.
That's the lie that they maintain to allow them to say that they can access the resources of Scotland.
Yeah.
You need to get a bit deeper into it to understand that. But yeah, that goes into the two crown offices and things like that. You know,
a cracking picture of him heading in with his funny blooming cape on, and he's looking back across at the people that have got the Not My King, and he's fucking scowling. I'm going, get out!
Oh yes, he would.
Get out! Yeah.
But I just thought I'd let people know that, because he isn't actually King of Scots at all. And he's no King of Scotland whatsoever.
Yeah.
You know, simple as that. He hasn't met the criteria required. This is just pomp and pageantry. That's why you never seen anything get put in his heat.
I mean, also, you have to figure this, right? We did, with our English cousins, Welsh cousins, and cousins from Ireland as well, even though they were technically an independent nation, right? We did fight a war against the Nazis. Second World War, First World War, all the rest of it, right? Okay. And in 1917, that was when the First World War had been burning for 3 whole years. Eventually, if I can just find this, and I will find it. King George changed, there is that, right? He changed the name from Saxe-Coburg Gotha, that was his surname, to Windsor, right? Because, they couldn't be seen as being German if, the surname definitely said they were German, and there would have been a reaction to it. So, as far as I'm concerned, this is a family that have been playing fannies with every single one of us for a long, long time, and it's about time that we just said, no thanks, we've grown up a bit.
Aye. Hey, I think that's enough about Noddy. Sorry, big ears.
Big ears.
I see you this horse swimming off. Well, anyway, let's move on, shall we?
By the way, I've just got a wee thing to throw in, right? And this is
Right.
for Scotland, right? Scotland's got lots of great inventors. We've all heard of, Bell and Logie Bear. And,
this is going to talk about pneumatic tyre.
Yeah,
Thompson,
this morning I actually got something that came up my feed, and it's like we've got Robert William Thompson. My wife's a Thompson, right? Before marriage, Robert William Thompson, born 1822, on this day invented the pneumatic tyre. He took it to London, right, and they changed over all the wheels on the expensive horse carriages to be pneumatic tyres to give them a more smooth ride and all the rest of it, right? That's marvellous. You know something? Yet again, I'll say it. Scotland has invented the 20th to 21st century, and given half a chance, we'll invent the 22nd and the 23rd. We've got to be independent, though, to do it. Right, sorry, David, I broke in there. Right.
Aye, all very interesting history, the pneumatic tyre. Fortunately for me, I already knew that. Anyway, courts and Bojo's WhatsApp.
Yeah.
What do you make of the court ruling that Bojo's WhatsApp messages and diaries?
It seems to me that just over the past few weeks, that the Tories have been doing particularly badly in the courtroom, haven't they?
Yes, just a little.
Is there somebody they're not paying off that they should be paying off? Is that what that is?
That could well be that. Aye. Hey, I'm not going to comment on that, David.
But if he has,
we would like the channel to stay on air.
Yeah.
Anyway, so
yeah,
the court says
he's got to hand over his WhatsApp. Then that means Rishi Sunak definitely has to hand over his WhatsApp messages, right? But what I want to know is, can we all see them?
No, that's the thing. That's the court ruling. The only stuff that is deemed relevant can be made public. The rest is going to be returned without any third parties seeing it. That's the specifications that have been put on it.
All right.
Okay. So only the stuff that but the main point of the ruling was the government was trying to dictate what information the inquiry could have. It was trying to test out the scope of the powers of an inquiry. Well, they've just gone out. So, but we can expect Sunak to try and delay his WhatsApp and all, So this could be interesting. The courts could get bloody busy over the next few weeks.
Oh, yeah, right. I mean, this is the thing. It's like, they've got this thing about contempt of court. If you don't do as a court says, you can be done up for contempt of court. And definitely, if Sunak decided he wasn't going to hand over his WhatsApp messages, surely that is contempt of court, is it not?
Listen, we Michael Goby's been hiding these posts for that long in contempt of court, and nobody's done bugger all to him.
He should be serving a prison term. Of course he should.
Right, next one up, which I thought was hilarious, was Pincher by name.
Yeah.
Suspended by Standards Committee for 8 weeks, triggering another by-election. Sunak's not having a good time in this, is he?
The thing is, forgive me for saying this, right? But you imagine, I think Pincher was the one that went to the bar in Westminster. Yeah. And he was a private member. He was playing, touchy-feely with other blokes.
Aye, yeah, I think it was a Tory private members club.
Yeah, the Tory party, do they not have other people round about and go, right, come on, son, and I'll come away,
This is the one that brought down Bojo the Clown, this one.
Yeah.
Because he's appointed this guy.
Yeah.
He's appointed this guy as Deputy Chief Whip.
Yeah.
So, a sexual predator is the guy that's going to be judging any complaints about sexual misconduct. That just sort of tells you all there is to talk about Bojo and his integrity, honesty, and all that. And apparently Bojo knew this guy was a bit antsy.
Yeah.
You know,
That's just amazing. It really is, honestly.
it is. But so another by-election down that road. I think Sunak. I think that's 5 or 6 now. I think Sunak's in for a bad time here the next wee while. You know, and the Tory parties are about to take a hammering. Right, another wee tragedy for down the road, but this affects the SNP this time. Angus Brendan McNeil suspended for the has the whip taken off him for a week, so he's suspended for the parliamentary party for a week.
What did he do? Did he stab Stephen Flynn or one of their MPs?
Nah, he called the chief whip a wee man. You know, a wee busybody type thing.
I would have called him a wee fanny, but that's beside the point, you know. And I'm an SNP member, right?
Aye, Brendan followed him up and said, "You've not been attending the Commons enough. You've not been attending enough votes." Now I don't know what Angus's circumstances are at the moment. I was a bit surprised I didn't see him in Dundee. You know, so I don't know what Angus's circumstances are at the moment. But I'm sure Angus and Brendan can sort it out. I think the suspensions to give the two of them a week to cool down, you know. Typical, couple of typical Scots, and a quick shout at each other and forget about it.
Oh yeah, Angus, call him a fanny.
You better say the same to Brendan.
Oh dear.
But come on, guys, get a grip. You know, I don't know what Angus's circumstances are, but Brendan, I don't know, you would maybe want to ask him what the problem is. You maybe get a wee bit more out of him that way, you know.
Boys will be boys. Simple as that. Yeah.
Never heard so much crap in all your life. Grow up, you pair of spanners. Wow.
Can I be one of the wee? Can I be one of the wee things on Angus's?
See when we get conference used to, you're going in the fucking naughty state. We'll get to that.
Angus.
But I mean, it's stupid. Anyway. Oh, this one's a cracker, David. This one's an absolute cracker. More trouble for Tories at Mill.
Yeah.
Right.
Trouble at Mill.
No Monday this week, but Monday the week before you were back for your holiday, I was reporting that wee Govey puts a bill in front of the Commons, and it was called the Economic Activities of Public Bodies Overseas Bill.
Yes.
And this thing was to ensure that when this bill passes, then public bodies would legally not be allowed to boycott rogue states on a moral or political values. And specifically in the bill, it says that Israel and the occupied Palestine territories, that public bodies like universities and councils can't boycott the apartheid that's going on in Israel. Now, that's not me that's saying it's apartheid. That's some of the biggest NGOs on the planet, plus the UN, saying it's an apartheid regime. But what this bill does, it means that only the Home Office can direct public bodies on what they can and can't do when it comes to deciding what.
Let's make it utterly stupid. Let's say that somebody in the Home Office decided that North Korea was going to be their picture, their pin-up, right? And they told everybody that you can only deal with North Korea. You can't deal with any other country in the world. Well, if you look at the opposite side of that, you've got Israel that can effectively say, if you are buying stuff from abroad, you must buy stuff from Israel. That's not anti-Semitic, guys. That is not anti-Semitic. That's
yeah. Imagine this. By the way, the Tories will get forward in this one. Yeah. Do you imagine this when Glasgow, Sheffield, Liverpool, Manchester were all fighting South African apartheid against the Tory party?
Yeah.
Mandela's still be in jail. There's still be an apartheid regime in South Africa. Oh, I mean, if you look at big companies like Rolls-Royce, who refuse to deal with Pinochet's regime, Thatcher was Pinish's pal. She was raging at the trade union saying, no, we're going to boycott this ban pot.
Yeah.
This bill stops that from happening in the future. This is really, really... So it started a big stooshy, and I mean a big stooshy. And it's a very it's another attack on democracy, David.
What's that?
Very, very... It's a clear attack
Yeah,
on democracy.
it's shaving away freedoms, right? And it's this thing of freedom. It keeps on going. You take away another wee freedom again, and eventually one day you're going to wake up and you will not be free at all to do anything, right? So,
hey, David, that's the latest update. The restream means I'm seeing Facebook comments on the screen in front of me as well now.
That's good. That's good.
You know, here on the restream feed.
Yeah.
Mine, it used to be just YouTube comments we've seen there.
There's wee Sarah saying, hello, you two. And is that a kiss at the end? No, it's the saltire.
Anyway, this douchey's actually got the Tories within their own party, an even bigger group than the spanners that are on about immigration, about 50 of them, saying they're going to vote against this.
Yeah.
You know, saying this is an attack on local democracy. Now, don't know what the script is with Labour on this one yet. I've not looked at it. But,
well, Starmer would class anything that's against that as being anti-Semitic.
This is an attack on local democracy and freedom of speech and expression of that by using your economic resources to say, no, this isn't good enough.
Yeah.
We're not going to buy for you because this isn't good enough.
Yeah.
I guess there's two types of conversations going on here. One in Facebook and one on YouTube.
Yeah.
And now we're getting a bit
about MRI.
It was a really Anne's talking about MRI scanners on Facebook. Right, anyway.
Next one is, fancy a spliff, Dave?
I don't mind if I do, Dave.
I can't.
But I can't because A, it's illegal, and B, it's not being treated as a medical condition here in Scotland. Because drug policy set out with Scotland, and if I did it, I'd be a criminal rather than an addict.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So if you don't know what we're talking about, folks, especially the people in England, here in Scotland, we've been taking a public health approach to anything that's bad for us: obesity, alcohol. Now we want to take a public health approach to drugs. We want to decriminalise people having drugs for personal use, so that we can direct them into treatment for addiction.
Yeah.
We want to treat drugs and alcohol, drugs as we do alcohol, as a public health issue.
Yeah.
Now, with great success on treating alcohol as a public health issue.
Yeah.
And I'm just as confident that the people here in Scotland and our elected representatives would make great strides in the problems that Scotland's relationship with narcotics.
The thing is that we know the benefits of perhaps marijuana or whatever, right? Okay, and I had a very good friend that had multiple sclerosis. He was a vicar for the smallest church in the north of England, for the Church of England, right? And what he used to do was he used to go to hang on a second, just to get rid of that, right? He used to go to Amsterdam so that he could smoke the marijuana, right? And that gave him relief. And then he could come back home and get a few weeks in, and the pain would build up, obviously, and he'd do it again. Do we really, really need to be hitting people like that? I don't think we do. I don't think.
But as I say, treating addiction as a health matter makes more sense than a criminal matter.
Yeah.
You know, but so the Scottish Government, are now appealing to Westminster again to devolve the powers over these issues so that we can go on and tackle this problem properly.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, but as you and I both know, we're going to be told, shut up, Jock, it's a reserve matter.
Well, we do need to be having an adult conversation over it, right? And, it's like most things now. We're getting to the point where we should be turning to the Tories and saying, fuck off. We're talking. Get out of the way. You know what I mean? So,
well, we're going to get a wee bit merry as we get to the darker side of the end of the week. Right, anyway, mortgage rates expected to top out at 7%, we're being told.
Yep. Now, as far as I'm concerned, that is we're reaching the point where the effect on people is going to be biblical. You're going to see people just giving up. And also, you can imagine the wee couple or whatever, wee man or woman, have done a buy-to-let. Yeah, they've got a mortgage. They've taken a buy-to-let mortgage, so they've got a wee flat in Faithfully or something like that, and they rent it out to a wee family, right? And what's happened is they're paying interest only, yeah, but the interest rate is going up and up and up, and they cannot keep up with those payments each month. And they're having to go to the people that are renting from them and say, look, I'm sorry, but we're going to put the rent up. And that's the way it goes. You're going to end up with a massive amount of people that are out of houses.
Funny enough, one of the other bloggers I watched on YouTube, a guy called All Shorts, Marcus was saying he sees the housing market collapsing.
Yeah.
I mean, and you and I have spoken about this, David. We're going to be back to the 80s where people were posting the keys through banks.
Well,
problem is, where are they going to post the keys? There's no bloody branches like
that. Even if you've got the money to pay the mortgage, at whatever it gets to, right? It's still going to affect you because you know what it's doing. That lump of bricks and mortar that I've got at the front of me here, my house, the price of it is dropping.
Oh, aye.
You know, as less and less people are able to get mortgages and buy it, that's what the effect is. It'll cause the house prices to plummet, right? And we need to, I don't know what to do about it, but we cannot allow it to continue. The Bank of England, I mean, basically what they're doing is they've got a hammer called interest rates, and they've got a nail marked inflation, and they think if they just keep on hitting that nail, it's going to do something. It's not.
We know it. Listen, this is how thick they are. I mean, I factored in things at the beginning of the year to say that we're only going to get they're only going to half inflation by the middle of the year, or never mind the end of the year. And here we've just talked about a bill and a problem, the migration bill, the illegal migration bill, and no processing people, and want to shut down the amount of people coming here, when we've just spoke about an inflationary factor. The amount of food available pushes the cost there up. Yeah. This is the economic madness. Sometimes I think it's a deliberate thing.
I'm starting to see that, right? And another thing is we know that it's profiteering and greed that's causing inflation to go up the way, right? That's it. Simple as that, right? Profiteering and greed. But do you want to know something? See the ones that are doing it? They're also driving other companies that might not do that to increase prices to keep the same. So they've no choice but to go up as well, you know.
But it's just it's looking at it, David. It's just madness. But now I want to spend a wee bit on the last one, and I hope that we still we're friends for England. Listening in on this one, and I want to explain this one to people. It's been reported that we Lord Folks has reported that the UK government is looking at how the Scottish government spends their money in what they call reserved areas. Right? So what they're trying to say is that so apparently there's a probe into whether it's all right for Scottish politicians to spend Scottish money on offering the Scottish people a different prospectus to the one that we're living under at the moment. So basically, what this investigation's into is whether the Scottish government has the right to appoint a Minister for Independence and has the right to use the civil service to put in front of people of Scotland a prospectus on independence. Now remember, folks, this is the democratically elected government of Scotland who was elected by the majority of the people in Scotland to put such a prospectus in front of us because it was in their manifesto. Now, what they are saying is the Constitution is reserved So the Scottish government is wasting taxpayers, UK taxpayers' money. They'll try to say, isn't it Scottish taxpayers' money? We have a different income tax system than they have down that road. And then we get back to the Barnett formula is actually a per capita share of what's in the pot. We know that the people of Scotland put in more per capita than any other part of the UK. You throw in things that they don't count, like the fact that whisky is a quarter of the UK's food and drink export, but it's no credited to Scottish books. Same with oil and gas. So actually, what's going into treasuries for Scotland is much, much higher than what we get back in the Barnett formula. But what he's trying to say is because we get a per capita share of the pot back, it's UK taxpayer money.
It's quite the oil and gas prior to 2014, and from 2014 to now is the same. That hasn't stopped. That still continued, right? And if you figure the amount of money that was collected and sent to the Treasury prior to 2014, I seem to remember Mr. Hammond actually announcing that it was 238 billion since 1974, right?
No, oil revenue up to the point of 2014, as Mr. Salmon pointed out, the UK Treasury had collected 330 billion.
Right, okay. So how much has Scotland collected and sent to the Treasury since they fiddled the books? Yeah.
It's not really that important. The important part is they're trying to gag the Scottish Parliament and prevent the Scottish people about a different perspectives. Now, we talk about a Davies bill denying democracy, local democracy, and ending freedom of thought, basically, when it comes to public bodies. What they're trying to do here is gag a democratically elected government for spending Scottish money on a prospectus that the Scottish people want them to spend it on. Basically, they're trying to gag the people, our ministers, talking about independence whatsoever. That's really dark, because we have to look at how dark that is and how the Supreme Court talked about us not being oppressed. If you're not allowed to talk to yourself or each other, or your politicians are allowed to talk to you about a subject because it's fair voting, that's oppression. That's a clear expression of oppression. So now the Scotland office and the government are trying to deny that it's taking place. So Kiwi George Fuchs is due. He is a dark wee character. He did initiate this. He is a unionist to his toes. But what I'm going to say here is the people of Scotland should be horrified about this. You have said unionists will be chuffed, but very few people in Scotland are unionists. The majority of non-voters voted on their wallets on what they thought would be an economic disadvantage to themselves. Turns out actually staying in the union was an economic disadvantage to themselves. But those people who voted no should be horrified at this as well. Absolutely horrified at this as well. Because what they're basically telling you is you can't talk about this. They're trying to shut down the debate altogether.
Would you say we're getting close to the fuck off point? Would you say we're getting to the point of saying, no, fuck off, we're doing it anyway? That one we can't, and I do realise that. Because what they'll do is they will order the civil servants not to do anything.
Well, that's Hobbes's idea. Hobbes's idea is just to say, we're going to fucking do it anyway. So we'll go where summer of driving up support for independence. We'll go to local conventions to go to where because that one in Dundee was a joke. Except for I have to say that there was two perspectives put in front of us, and nobody for the flair really got to. I think it was very carefully driven away from other potential routes. But I've been told that's not true. I don't believe it for a bloody second, and I'm a party member. Now, but we've had two perspectives put in front of us. We're supposedly going to have a debate on some more in the regional assemblies, and then we'll have a vote on it in October at conference. But as I say, I expect Holmes's route to win out, because Holmes's route is the one that says, fuck off, we're going to do it anyway. And we're going to do it by your rules.
Yeah. Yeah.
No. But there is, as I say, there's a darkness to this.
Yeah.
It's denying people the fundamental right to talk to each other about a different prospectus, about a different possible future. And it's also gagging a democratically elected government which is democratically elected to achieve that alternative or put a prospectus in front of the people for that alternative. That's as dark as it gets. That is oppression.
Yeah.
It's our boy, you're not allowed to talk about it. Now, we've seen this pettiness when Holmes went to visit the EU the other week there, with the UK minister sitting on his shoulder like a fucking parrot or a parasite, whatever way you want to look at it.
No,
But this is as dark as this is. It can get worse, and it will, unless it's time to say enough is enough.
Now, there's a wee something that David and I have kept aside, and if you imagine, we do talk about an awful lot about the Tories and what they've done and what they're doing and all the rest of it, right? But what we want to do is we want to take you back in time a wee bit to a gentleman called Anthony Wedgwood Benn, who a lot of people have got a lot of good regard for. They think, oh yeah, he says some wonderful stuff. But I'm going to show you something here, right? And this is a quote by Sir Anthony Wedgwood Benn. I can just get it open. There you go. It should be black. It's the black one, isn't it? Yeah, that's it. Yeah. No, it isn't. It's that one. Right, share. Right, David, pull it in, would you? And I'll just start.
I think there are two ways in which people are controlled. First of all, frighten people, and secondly, demoralize them. An educated, healthy, and confident nation is harder to govern. And I think there's an element in the thinking of some people. We don't want people to be educated, healthy, and confident because they will get out of control. The top 1% of the world's population own 80% of the world's wealth. It's incredible that people put up with it. They're poor, they're demoralized, they're frightened, and therefore they think perhaps the safest thing to do is take orders and hope for the best.
Right, so there you go. Good words, eh? Wonderful words.
It's a shame we don't have 10 minutes left to put for me to play.
I'm just going to maybe put we can take 2 minutes. I'm sorry if I offend folk here, but this bastard was responsible for demoralising folk in the 1970s when oil was first landed. As the Energy Minister for Labour, he was never off the TV at the time saying, it's poor quality stuff and there isn't very much of it. That was the time that he and his criminal cronies buried the Macron report after marking it as top secret. That report contained the truth that Scotland was a very, very rich country. Google the Macron report. It was released from secrecy in 2005. So Anthony Wedgwood Benn is guilty of demoralising the people of Scotland and branding them as poor. Stop thinking of him as a great speaker. He is not.
Now, it's a shame we don't have the time to play my speech for the BBC protest we did, because it would end this subject quite well, actually.
Yeah.
So it would. But I don't think we've got 10 minutes, have we?
No, we've got 1 minute.
Ah, well. Do you want to spend the 10 minutes?
Next programme. Well, if you want to carry on, I'm okay.
Anybody want to hear this? Yeah, Good Pet wants to hear it. All right.
Go for it, David.
Because it's you, Good Pet. This is going on for what Ben said. Where is it? Hold on. Share.
You send it on the PM to me, David, if that helps.
Can you hear that all right, David?
Everybody else. although
No,
it's still
it's
going
very
to be
quiet.
along the lines of propaganda. But I'd like to come
Can't
at this
come up
from
with
the
any
angle of
more,
what that propaganda does
Any
to the
better.
psyche of the nation.
Not much.
Now, in 2012, when the referendum campaign kicked off, I started chapping doors. And one of the things that struck me when I was
No, you won't be able to boost that, David. People are saying they can hear it, David, so let it go. I'm not hearing anything now. David, I'm not hearing anything now. Oh my goodness me, look at that beside you. No, can't hear him, David. It's all gone. No sound. No. I can't hear you. No. Your sound's off. Your sound's off. Okay, listen, lads, lads and lasses, can you hear me? Right. You've muted yourself. You haven't. Right, okay. We need to just do a wind up. Okay. All right, guys. I hope you enjoyed the show. And if you did, then please hit the like button, right? Ah, here's David back. Can you hear you?
I can hear me now.
Aye,
Can you hear me? Sorry about that, folks.
I'll let you do the wind up, David. On you go. On you go.
Right, folks, if you like what we're doing, please share it across your social media. I want to thank everybody who's made a donation today. That's this month's up and running. And as I say, you'll get updates. Now, if you're going to share this on Facebook, folks, please give me a wee minute to make it public, although I think it might be public because I was locked when I started the broadcast. I didn't realise that Facebook would lock me. It might be public now, so, but I'll, just in case, give me a minute to go onto Facebook and make this public.
Yeah. Old people in technology.
Apparently, Andy Murray won his match and all.
Oh, very good.
But if you like what it is we do, please share across your social media. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, because it helps get us noticed in the algorithms, apparently. Now, have a fantastic weekend. I start work in about 55 minutes, David. So all that's left to say is, it's bye for me.
Bye-bye, Davey. Bye-bye, guys.
Davey.